All right, guys. So, little update on the BMW. It's running pretty good. I'll put in a clip right now. So as you can see, it's running. I had a lot of issues the past week or two trying to get this thing to run without me having to blip the throttle. I think I figured it out a little bit, just some carb tuning. I set the primary float bowl to what Holly recommends. It was a little high. It was at the top of the viewing port, which I can show you. So you can kind of see in there now. It was up at the top and it's supposed to be right there in the middle. I got it adjusted down a little bit. It's still pulling fuel at idle from the booster venturis, which isn't a bad deal. I think this is number 7 right here. That spark plug boot. This is the second one that's burned, and all I've done is let it idle in here. So need to get either, I think they sell shorty, or they sell header plugs, which are a little bit shorter enamel, or maybe find some kind of aggressive angled boot. That way I can get it down and around the head. It's literally the only one that has an issue. All the rest I can fit in there. Even on number 8 over here, it fits just fine. But yeah, these headers are just a little bit different, I guess, side to side. Not a big deal. I'll look into getting a solution for that. Overall, it's doing pretty good. I need to finish up the exhaust, but other than that, cooling system works. I just got it up to about 190 degrees and no leaks. Just, like I said, just kind of messing around with the carburetor at this point. I have the diff out over here so I can weld it. I'm gonna put it through the parts washer and hopefully get it all nice and clean and then weld it up. Other than that, that's really the only update we have. Like I said, it's running pretty decent. It's loud as hell. I hope when I add another like 2.5 feet of exhaust to go from there out the bumper, it quiets up a little bit. Oh, I also finished up my ABS delete. These parts, these T-fittings, they're M12x1 T's. They finally came in, and then I also had to get M12x1 to M10x1 adapters for some of them. BMW is weird. So there's 6 of these lines down here. 3 of them were M12x1, the other 3 M10x1. I got an M10x1 T-block, but I could not find a M12-to-1 to M10-to-1 reducer. So I had to end up buying these the proper M12x1 T-blocks, which took about a month to get shipped here. And then I got the M10 up to M12 adapters. So I got that all finalized. So the brakes are bled the other night. Since I don't have a drive shaft, my buddy Mike and I hooked it behind the truck and took it around the block and just towed it around to see and make sure all the brakes work. Everything seems good, so I'm happy with that. I also bled the clutch. It was kind of difficult. As you can imagine, this transmission is quite a bit bigger than the BMW stuff. So I had to cut a hole in the floor, or in the trans tunnel, which I'll repair, but I had to have some kind of access point to get to the bleeder. So what else? Other than that, really, this engine seems to be pretty strong, just at idle, probably 1,500 RPMs in that last video or so, so not necessarily idle, but it was at 55 pounds of oil pressure, so I'm really happy with that. I was worried whenever I started having all these issues with it backfiring through the carb. I feel stupid for this, especially since I've already, worked on a 350, but that was, man, I had the S10 3 years ago, I think, at this point. I was just didn't look it up and just started messing around with it. And I thought, turned the distributor clockwise, that should advance it. Well, that's the opposite of what I was doing. My buddy Mike and I were messing with it the other night, and I kept on trying to advance it by turning it clockwise, and it started backfiring through the car worse and worse and worse. So I finally like turned it, you know, counterclockwise quite a bit, and it started right up with no backfires. So not saying it's perfect or almost done, but it's getting close, and I'm happy with the progress. And hearing it actually run and be able to sit here and run for a period of time really sparked some interest. I've been kind of down in the dumps because I don't have a car, like a fun car that's running and driving, and this thing is at least running. So some other parts I have to order. So down here where those two bolts are right there, I'm gonna get a it's a Sagnol Type 2. So a Sagnol Type 2 power steering pump is basically like, I think, what comes on LS's or later model GM stuff. So I'm gonna get one of those, and then I forget the company who makes them, but it comes with a integrated power steering reservoir right on it. It's a little bit smaller and less bulky than the TC style pumps. I think that's the Gen 1s, which came on the small block stuff. But it's the Type 2 pump that I'm using is a little bit better for rack and pinion style stuff. So I'm gonna do that. Just need to order that and some, I think they're dash 8 lines. They're pretty short, so it shouldn't worry about restriction. But yeah, so I'll have power steering here pretty soon. Just like I said, just need to order up those parts and make the exhaust. I need to go up to Springfield and buy a drive shaft, or get one made, I should say. Powertrain Industries is, you know, about 40 minutes away. It's kind of funny. I bought this BMW E46 4-bolt flange to standard 1310 U-joint adapter, and the next day I bought it from like Fort Wayne Clutch. They did me a huge favor. It was out of stock on their website. I emailed them. They ended up giving me a private link, all that. So I ended up buying it from them. It was like 85 bucks or so, not a big deal. And then I called Powertrain Industries and I was like, hey, I'm looking to buy a drive shaft, custom drive shaft for this thing. And the guy's like, oh, what do you got? I'm like, a small block Chevy with a NV 3500 from an S10 and a you know, factory E46 BMW 4-bolt diff. He's like, oh, perfect. We got that flange, and that's an easy, you know, 27 spline slip yoke. So, you know, that's an easy drive shaft, 52 inches, no big deal, right? And I'm like, by chance, how much is your 4-bolt flange to 1310 adapter? He's like, oh, it's 35 bucks, and we'll install it for you. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Anyway, I was like, all right, Fort Wayne, I already bought their stuff, not a big deal. It shows up in the mail, open up the box, and then I pull out the actual flange box, and it's literally a Powertrain Industries part, so that I paid $50 more for. No big deal, but I just thought that was kind of funny and to share. So sometimes just if you need a specific part, reach out to Powertrain Industries. The guy was super helpful, kind of like a goofy, quirky old guy that I've talked to the last couple times in there. But there you go, guys. A little BMW update.